Alright guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about lipless crankbaits. So, lipless crankbaits, honestly this is not these are not lures that I have a ton of. I have a ton of frogs, or I have a decent amount of frogs, decent amount of jigs, because I love those. But crankbaits and lipless crankbaits especially, I own a lot more than I keep in my tackle bot and my tackle, because I have a few different. I have like bank fishing, I have the boat fishing, I have random stuff, right? But out of my boat fishing tackle, to be honest, those are the 3 lipless crankbaits I have right now, which are pretty poor. Considering if you look at my other tackle, like I said, jigs, I probably have like 10 or 12 jigs, 10 or 12 frogs. But lipless crankbaits, I have 3. Square bills, I probably have 5 or 6. I really don't fish lipless crankbaits a lot. But this is the time of year right here where I do. This is when I make an exception and I fish a lipless crankbait. Early spring, also in the fall, but early spring into spring is going to be an excellent time. And it's because they imitate baitfish so well. They imitate baitfish so well. They have that really small, tight action. So it's not like, you know, your big, huge, wide action. It's a really tight, small action, and it just drives the fish crazy. It imitates a little baitfish so well. Like I said, those are the colors that I have, because I'm imitating baitfish. I have a silver, black back, a silver and blue. Those are your baitfish imitations. And then I have a red. And in springtime, the red is mainly what I'm going to be throwing to imitate crawfish, right? Early spring, that water gets up into the 50s, 51, 52, 53, right? Low 50s. That's when your craws are going to come out. They're going to come out from, they're going to be buried in the mud in the winter. They're going to come up, they're going to come out, either going to be in the rocks. And that's also when the low 50s, low to mid 50s is when the bass are going to be starting to look at that pre-spawn pattern, right? The early pre-spawn pattern. And so as those craws come out, those bass are going to see an opportunity to feed on those craws. And a red lipless crankbait works phenomenal for that. Yeah, you could say a jig imitates a craw better. You could say a Texas rig craw, but there's something about a lipless that it's like a Senko kind of. There's something about it that the fish just absolutely love in the springtime. These dark red lipless crankbaits. And you're going to take them and rip them around rocks, places there's crawfish. If any of you actually fish, we used to throw out like crawdad traps and stuff in the creeks when I was little, catch a bunch of crawdads. And so, you can kind of break it apart and find areas where there's going to be craws. So say you got a little rock pile. Well, for instance, rocks are a huge place for craws to burrow down in the rocks. And a rock pile is also, something a bass can relate to. So there you go, ding ding ding, that's one spot. That's one spot you need to check out. And then there's many others. If you have a muddy lake, find those little muddy flats. The little mud flats. The crawfish will be up there in the mud flats, and the bass will move up there. They'll move up there and eat those craws, eat these little lipless crankbaits. And with the lipless crankbait, I don't know what to say. They're just such a good bait. How I normally fish them is I throw them out there and do a straight retrieve back. And you can change up your speeds. You can do a slow roll, have it kind of creep along the bottom. I even do it in the rocks where I've even actually, before taking off, they have 2 hooks on them, right? Take off that belly hook. Just take off the split ring, and you have no belly hook on there. And then just creep that along the bottom and let that bang into the rocks as you're trying to imitate crawfish, right? Bang that into the rocks with no front hook, so that front hook is not going to get hung up on the rocks or anything else that's down there. Or you can do like a medium retrieve, throw it out there, just kind of, do a medium retrieve, or burn it. I like most of the time to burn lipless crankbaits. And because springtime, you're trying to keep it lower to the bottom. As it's colder, they're going to be more associated to the bottom, eating the crawfish on the bottom. A heavier one's going to work. A ½ ounce, 3/4 ounce, in 3 to 5 feet of water, in rocks is going to be killer in the spring. And I'll buzz that over the top of those rocks. And the fish, it's just a reaction. They see that big bright red thing shooting by them, and they just smash it, right? Just like a crawfish. Like I said, back to where you're catching them, in the creeks and stuff when you're a kid. And you're out there and you try to grab one, and they shoot off. They're fast. They shoot off backwards, of course, they swim backwards, and they shoot off fast, right? So you take this little thing and you burn it by them quick, and it goes right by their head, and they just smash it. They cannot resist. They just smash these baits. They can't resist it. They just do. But the rod I'm going to be fishing these on is going to be usually a crankbait rod, a Dobbins. Dobbins makes a crankbait rod, Dobbins Fury. That right now, that's like my favorite brand of rod right now, Dobbins Fury. They make a 705 crankbait rod it actually says LV500s. I'm pretty sure it says something like that, which is a lipless crankbait. Anyway, it's a good rod for lipless crankbaits. I don't own it, but my grandpa does, and he throws all kinds of stuff on it. He catches fish with it. And so for me, the only rod that I have right now that's even close to qualifying for a crankbait rod is the Dobbins 704C, which is a 7-foot heavy action rod. And when you think of a crankbait rod, you think, you look at those treble hooks on there, you think, oh, you're going to need like a medium fast action or a medium moderate action, medium heavy moderate action. And yes, I'd prefer that, but you got to work with what you got to work with. And luckily those Dobbins, they actually have a really nice bend to them. They have almost more of a moderate action to them. And so that 704, I can get away with fishing lipless crankbaits. Do I lose fish on them? Absolutely. Do I miss fish on them? Absolutely. But do I catch fish on it? Absolutely. It's not your best, but like I said, I only have 3 lipless crankbaits, so what's the point of buying, a $100 rod just to throw 3 different lipless crankbaits, and then you lose one? No, now you're down to 2, you lose another one, you're down to 1, you lose another one. That's, you know what I mean? So easy to lose them. You only got 3 of them. You can lose them in, a half an hour. I could go out and lose all 3 of them. And so for me, it's just not, right now where I'm at in the style of the fishing I like, it's just not there for me. I just don't want to put the money down to go buy it. I could have. I had the chance to do it, but last couple weeks ago I had a chance to do it, but I didn't do it. Instead, I bought some other stuff that I needed. And so anyway, the 704, to me it's more of a medium heavy rod than a heavy rod when I'm fishing with it. And it has a nice bend to it. It works. Like I said, it's not the best, but when fish hit them good, and you've got the right treble hooks on there, like these little, I don't even know what that's called, like the KVD trapper ones or whatever, those ones right there. Like if you got the right style on, and they hit it, and they get it good, most of the time, as long as they get it good, they're not coming off. And I fish square bills on that rod. I fish all my crankbaits on that rod for now. But it's also because I don't fish them. And if I bought that rod, yes, it would motivate me to go buy more lipless crankbaits and fish more lipless crankbaits. So it would be, that would help me out, yes. But I just don't fish them that much anyway. And I'm afraid that if I do spend all that money, I'm still not gonna fish it very much. So it's just gonna be a waste of money for me. That's just how I am. Just my style. So anyway, that's kind of the main way I'm gonna fish those crankbaits. Another way is gonna be in grass. Lipless crankbaits, they come through grass extremely well, and that's another place where crawfish will go and they'll grab onto the grass and they'll eat little things off the, little plankton or whatever they eat on the grass. So bass can be positioned, milfoil, stuff like that. Bass can be positioned in it. Throw that in there, rip it through there. You get hung in the grass, pop it a few times, and it'll rip right out of the grass. Besides the chatterbait, that is one of the best baits for coming through the grass. That and the chatterbait, like I said. ripping through the grass very, very well. And I think it just has something to do with the body, the way that that thin body, the way your hook's positioned on it, or the way your line's tied onto it, just the way that it sits, it just rips through the grass phenomenally, even with the 2 treble hooks on there. And so that's basically how I fish it, ripping it by rocks, ripping it through grass. You can yo-yo them. I don't, like I said, I don't fish crankbaits a whole lot, but I have caught, the only thing I've really caught yo-yoing a lipless crankbait, I actually caught a carp. And with this one right here, and I did not snag it, at least I don't think I did. It actually had it in its mouth. I thought for sure I was sitting there yo-yoing, and what that is you throw it out there, you basically let this thing sink down to the bottom, hit the bottom, and then rip it up off. And it basically just kind of goes up off the bottom and then flutters back down and lays on the bottom. Looks like a dying minnow. Or you can use the red and do, usually when I do this I do minnow. I use like a silver and blue, a silver and black. Do more of a minnow presentation, more than a crawl, but it just looks like a dying minnow, right? He's kicking up and he's fluttering back down to the bottom. And I was doing that, and I thought maybe I hooked a giant bass at first, but then I realized, oh, it's a carp. And I was like, oh, I probably snagged him, right? I got it in, and he had this crankbait. And not only did he just have it barely hooked like on the outside of the mouth, you know, they got the little sucker mouth, it was up like this inside of his mouth. So when I was yo-yoing, what happened was I yo-yoed up, let it sink. When I ripped back up, he was on there. So I think what happened is either on the fall or while I was sitting on the bottom, he came over and sucked it in. And he actually had it sucked in pretty good. And so I was actually super surprised to that he actually ate it. I don't really see how the heck I could have snagged him. I mean, what are the chances of actually snagging him in, like, deep inside the mouth like that? So anyway, that's the only fish I've really ever caught yo-yoing a lipless crankbait. But the other ways I've had more success doing. But anyway, that's a lipless crankbait for you. That's some ways I fish it, some ways you could try fishing it. And hopefully you enjoyed, and see you guys in the next video.